But the CPS spent 4 years, they spent 4 years collating negative evidence to cancel out the evidence that is there to be seen. You don't know these things at first. You know what I mean? You're only given limited information. These are things that develop over time and time. So we spent 4 years, me and my solicitor, trying to get the evidence together. And we came up with a fantastic pathologist from Northern Ireland. I said, Ruth, I said, I don't want one here because they all work in the same field, they all know each other. Do you know what I mean? Let's get one from Northern Ireland or somewhere. She did. Professor Crane. All he had to do was look at the reports. He looked at the video and he went, that man's died of respiratory failure. He's breathing. You can hear it. Now, I'd always thought to myself, wait a minute, Christopher's been CS gas, that's what's caused his breathing. No, there's no evidence of CS gas. So then we eventually get to an inquest. I think it took, what, 4 years? Because time is their only weapon against us. Yeah? Time is their only weapon. But they don't realise that families like me and the families sat here, time is of no essence. Not when you see something like that happen to your family. Yeah? Where they're coming from, I don't know. But where we're coming from, it's totally different. Harping on, where is this canister? What's happened? They've gassed him, they've gassed him. There's no evidence of CS gas. Wait a minute. Well, why would this canister be sent away for destruction and then come back 4 years later full? What's the point of sending that away in the first place? I'm thinking, am I mad? No. Then I found out Christopher's tooth. He'd lost a tooth outside of a nightclub. The story that they tried to give me was absolutely unbelievable. My solicitor, before the inquest, managed to get all the... it's something that happens now, isn't it? Do you know, before your inquest, you do tend to get the information, all the witness statements. Have you got the witness statements and everything? Yeah.
Well, it's summaries.
Summaries.
Still summaries.
Well, I think you are entitled to disclosure because.
Yeah, we try. We get.
Yeah, yeah. But the coroner in this case gave us full disclosure, and I sat night after night after night after night after night after night reading it. And it's not nice to read pathologist reports about how they cut your brother up, how they've taken his heart away and cut it up. And to know that after you've had the funeral, his heart's still in Sheffield, where it is now 10 years later. So I'm looking, and I'm looking at the statement. A guy outside the nightclub was supposed to have found a tooth. He'd asked the paramedics if they wanted it. They said no. So he puts it in a piece of paper. He goes all the way to the back of the nightclub and puts it in a big biffa bin. The next day, conveniently, the biffa lorry comes. He sees it all cornered off with police crime scene. Do you know the yellow tape? Now we know, I won't go in there if it was, do you know what I mean? It was all cornered. But he did. He saw a bit broken. So he went in. He got the big biffa bin. He got the tooth, put it in a bag, put it in the biffa bin, and then the guy from the biffa with the biffa lorry came along, the next day, took the bin, emptied it in the back of his dumper, drove all the way to the tip where the seagulls are, tipped it, police radioed him, since when you have radios in those things, I don't know, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, you know, you start thinking about, what do you, radios in a biffa, in the dustbin van and all this lot. I'm thinking, something's wrong here. So, please go to the tip and find that tooth within half an hour. It does if you hire the tooth fairy. No, these situations, they're not funny, but if you don't look at the ridiculous things that telling you, do you know what I mean? You'd go absolutely balmy. That is what you're questioning. So then I'm asking about, well, you know, his tooth and that lot, do you know? Well, we don't know. Then I finds out it's a totally different tooth that's documented at the hospital. The hospital had documented 1 tooth missing and 1 bent back just 10 degrees. Now with 360 degrees, 10 degrees is nothing. And the doctor said, if he hadn't been so agitated, and we'd have been, you know, normally just pulled it back and it had cemented itself. He said, your teeth, when you get up in the morning, they're normally loose, and by the day goes on, they're cemented back in. Yeah? Something, well, where's this tooth? You know, this is a completely different tooth. They don't even know I know this yet. Yeah? They haven't even mentioned it. So then I'm thinking, right, but where's his belt? Christopher always wore a belt. By the time he got to that custody this week, his belt was missing. His trousers were open with only 2 buttons open. Do you know fly button trousers? Yeah? Do you know what? Guy from the Crown Prosecution, well, I don't know how baggy his trousers were. Do you know that stereotypical view of a black guy? Do you know some black guys do like a book? Some white guys, you've seen them all with the trousers down here and whatsoever. Yeah? Well, you don't know how baggy his trousers were. But wait a minute, he kept, you know, he kept fit. He was a muscular guy. Do you know what I mean? He had a good round bottom and whatsoever. Yeah? There's no way his trousers would have fallen, but dragging him in. What, yards? That's the excuse he tried to tell me. Oh, his trousers fell down when we were dragging him in, you know. So I'm thinking to myself, just lately, another thing I found out is there was a camera in the yard. They'd always told me there was no camera in the yard. We found out that when the police were leaving the hospital, there was supposed to be 2 driving the car, 1 driving the van. The civilian gate man only saw 1 driving the car and 1 driving the van. Where is the other copper?
He's in the back.
He's in the back of the van. His tooth was found in the back of the van. Little did I know, until just recently, one of the police officers comes into the custody suite while he's being resuscitated, and he goes like that. He throws his tooth, wanting it to be found in the scene. The reason I know it's his tooth is because when the paramedics have finished their attempt at resuscitating Christopher, the female paramedic goes like that. What on earth's that? It's teeth. The same tooth that the sergeant threw into the custody suite. And it doesn't stop there. They always said to me that they didn't know. These officers didn't know, you know what I mean, what were going on basically. Yeah? I found video evidence later on that these officers were making monkey and chimpanzee noises and references to the Ku Klux Klan. Not just that, I've sat and I've watched that video and over and over and over again myself. And you can hear police officers in the custody suite saying they just shouldn't have beat him up the white shits. What CS gas, 1 can alone is disorientating. What good would a good harding do? All those things that are thought, and all these things that these families think are right. And they spend years trying to convince you that you're wrong.
That's right.
So then we get to a trial. This is something else I've just found out. I have now got a civil case against the CPS. They only went to trial and said it was an accident, telling everybody that they're going to do these police officers for misconduct, and they've said it was an accident. So now I've got a civil case against the CPS, which is coming up this year, for doing a legal prosecution. And openly, we can open the box to just how many people that they've done this to before and continue to do it to. And I'll just leave it there just now because there's other families.